Please think about this very seriously and then respond. The major problem with science is that it believes in an objective reality, independent of an observer.
Now, I bet you're asking me, well, why, Deepak? Why reason this way? Well, I don't know. I'll just give you a brief description of what we mean by objective reality. Okay. An objective reality is something that scientists like to assume, and in fact, one of the major things we understand and find pretty reasonable to understand in the real world. Now, when I say this, I mean as follows. What Deepak is supposing, here, I'll show you what Deepak supposes, and then we shall continue. So this is what Deepak supposes, that each person has their own reality, and this is their own part of their mind. So these are all different worlds, according to Deepak, and you'll see this later on as he goes, and that the phenomenon that's going on in here is not real when you're going out into the real world, the material world. Because this is how he gets around with his bunk science. He does this. Well, the way it really works and how empirical scientists usually look at things is we do the following. Because instead of just saying, okay, our brains experience different things, so thus they're all different worlds. Well, no, that's not how reality works. Sorry, Deepak, you got it wrong, buddy. Watch right here. Okay, so what we usually assume in science is the idea of objective reality. Now, objective reality is meaning that there is only one reality. And what happens is there's different people. Or say we're talking about many different people. And we're saying they're experiencing things in objective reality. So when they're experiencing things, they can have different distortions, they can experience different things about reality, but all of them may not experience the same things. But there's still, for example, if there was an apple sitting right here, I don't know, we have, say, an apple sitting right there. It's not the best picture of an apple. Now, if these all are experiencing that apple right there, then you can have different people seeing it in a different way. For example, in fact, this is the best way of bunking Deepak's claim, is find several different people that have neurological disorders or neurological damage to their brain and get them to look at the exact same thing. And then you find people that do not have these disorders or damages to their brain. So, try this out. This is a good experiment, Deepak. You can definitely try this out. You'll benefit from it. Now, all you have to do is find maybe somebody that has, say, something wrong with their eyes, for example. Let's say they're colorblind. Say this guy's colorblind. You'll see the apple, he won't see it in the same color. This guy right here, let's just assume maybe he's half blind. I don't know, we'll just put an H here. He's half blind in one eye and has a little bit of trouble seeing where exactly it's located, but he can see it still with his eye, and he can use one eye to understand where it is. But if you ask him to point straight forward, who knows where it could be pointing? Now, the third person, I'm just going to assume that he just doesn't have any of these two things. He might have something else going on. He looks at the apple, he sees something. The idea with objective reality is that we can get multiple testings that try to reach and approach the idea of objective reality. Now, that's what science is all about. We do the scientific method, and we try to execute this repeatedly over and over to try for much more accurate predictions and better conclusions that we can use for practical applications, solving problems, and things that work in the daily life. Now, what Deepak is supposing is that this model I have right here isn't true. This is actually a major assumption here in science. Although the scientific method is nowhere near perfect, this is not a flaw. This is actually something very good about science. It's not about relativism. Relativism is not a good thing when you come down to trying to find formal reasoning and solid understanding of our world around us. So let's let Deepak continue, and he's going to say something ridiculous. So watch this.
The fact is that the objective world does not exist. I'll repeat it. The objective world does not exist.
Deepak. Whew. Where did you learn that from? You're you're formerly an MD. How do you not know this stuff? Like, Like, you would know this example fits perfectly with anybody that studies medicine. It's like, it's the most easiest thing to approach if you're studying medicine. Although, I wouldn't say medical science. Like, all forms of medical science are science in the same respect as, say, a biologist or a chemist or a physicist would do things. But still, you would get this. This is kind of common sense, buddy. Now, when we're talking about objective reality, if you say it can't exist, then that implies something about this model. If it can't exist, then what you're saying is, like I was saying earlier, is that when you cross this out, now you got independence between these guys, and now no longer can you deal with the correlation and understanding that everybody else can understand. That is not a fact, buddy. There is no evidence to suggest that there is no objective reality.
All perceptual objects are organism and species specific. I'll repeat that. All perceptual objects are organism and species specific. The world corresponds to the nervous system of the observer. Facts.
Wrong! No. It's definitely not right. He's generalizing far too much at this point. Now, it does not work that way, actually, Deepak. As I was saying, different people can experience several different situations, but they can all be in the exact same perceptual point, because they use their perception to understand the objective reality, or reality, as I like to say, at least as a science fellow. We just like calling it reality, not objective reality, just that's the thing we're talking about. Now, don't confuse this with the idea of, say, solipsism, where everything's going on in here. He's not saying that, but it could imply that, which is not a good thing. There's a lot of philosophical problems with solipsism. Let's not go there. So anyways, he's assuming that something has to be species or organism specific that has a perception to have its understanding of its own world. Now, I don't know, I'll give you a fair example. Here, I'm just going to get a fine example here. There we go, we got a puppy. Now this puppy can experience things in a very different way, but she's still here, and Lola, look, here's a pen. Here's a pen. See, she sees the pen too. Now watch. Look, Lola, look, I got a pen. See, she can react to the pen. See, if I touch the dog, she experiences it. If she yawns, I can see her yawning. I can experience these things, and if she can agree on things that I can agree on. Although that doesn't dismiss what you're saying, the idea is quite simple. If this is something between two people, and you're saying that their perception is reality, if I'm closing my eyes, for example, and I assume I can't observe you, then you can't exist. That's at least what the logic follows. And that's just ridiculous, Deepak. And that's why that claim that you made is actually false.
Facts. Scientific facts are modes of human observation. Period. Scientific facts are modes of human observation. Ultimate reality is beyond subject-object split. Ultimate reality is beyond subject-object split. Well, that's it. I'd love for you to respond.
What? Okay, if we're talking about objects and subjects, if we categorize objects based on certain subjects, sorry, I just can't take this too seriously. I'm trying, Deepak, I really am, but I can't understand what thought process you're using. You don't understand science. Now, if we talk about categorical understanding of things, usually as a scientist, somebody would affiliate something based on a category. And that's why we see people like in biology try to categorize organisms based on certain categories, based on their genetic codes, or who knows, their sequencing on their RNA. Who knows what you're dealing with? Because there's many different ways of looking at problems. And unlike you, Deepak, scientists actually try to understand things based outside of here. They try to understand things around them. Unlike you, who has to write books to do this, and con people who don't understand science to do the exact same thing. Now, I don't know how much you know about computation, about scientific method, understand about formal sciences, for example, but I don't get a very good picture if you're saying the fundamental problem of science is the fact that, well, you assume that objective reality can't exist. Now, who knows? There could be an argument out there for that, but it would be kind of ridiculous after millions upon millions of pieces of evidence that it does exist. And it's something that scientists use all the time. Now, I don't want to go into anything further than that. I'm pretty sure it's pretty common sense at this point that you're wrong, Deepak. Now, I'm sorry if that offends you, Deepak, but I can't go past what you said. You keep saying the word fact, and do what that does to somebody like me. It says, okay, I don't care about facts. I'll just call them facts. Without any evidence, by the way. If you say objective reality doesn't exist, you got to explain it. Like, if you're talking to me, a guy who's very serious about his scientific research, you got to be able to defend it with your life. Because people like me will just say, oh, if you say it, it doesn't mean anything. I want to see some... If you're saying it does not exist, that means that you have a proof for it or sufficient amount of evidence to say so. If not, when I prefer... Since I'm more of a formal guy, I prefer proofs. And you're saying something doesn't exist, that's usually a good annotation to use a proof. So, you're welcome to give me a proof if you'd like. Otherwise, Deepak, I recommend you go pick up a book maybe on science. Because I don't know how long you've been strayed away from doing your studies, but this quantum healing and quantum consciousness business has really gotten to you for a long time, and I'm sorry if that's just something you've strayed from. If that's the case, I apologize. You got a lot to study. That ignorance is something I can't deal with. Like, if I can explain it to you, I can't do anything more than that. If that's the case, I can't help you.
Well, that's it. I'd love for you to respond.
But anyways, have yourself a wonderful day.